Hi everyone! Today I will be ranking all of the fountain pens that I currently own. I have never shown my entire collection online before, so I thought it would be a fun way to talk through all the pens that I have rather than just, going through when I got them, where I got them, why I got them, and what I think about them. So hopefully you will indulge me as I chat through what I think about these pens. Let's get straight into it. So these are currently arranged according to when I got them, starting from my first pen to my latest purchase. I wouldn't say that my collection is super unique. These are definitely brands and pens that lots of other people also have. But I really only got into fountain pens around July last year, so that's a little bit over 6 months that I've fallen down the fountain pen rabbit hole, or become a fountain pen hobbyist, as it were. So I think this is currently in a pretty good place. I'm quite happy with a lot of the pens that I own, and I've tried to be quite intentional. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into it. Starting from the bottom, so I have 11 pens in front of me, so I'm gonna start from number 11. And the first, or rather the 11th pen in my collection would be this one, the Jinhao 82. It's not that I don't like it, I just feel like it's the least special pen to me. And I got this because so many people were saying that this is a really affordable and well-performing pen, which it is. And I actually got it in the medium nib because I wanted it specifically for inks that had shimmer in it. So I currently have Dominant Industries Autumn Forest inked up, which is a really nice deep green with reddish pink shimmer. The thing is that I don't know if the M is actually big enough, or the M nib is like wide enough for this ink, because I feel like I do need to press down quite a lot whenever I use this pen in order to get any shimmer to come out. So it's not exactly fulfilling the purpose that I bought it for, even though for all intents and purposes this is a pen that works really well. The other reason I got this pen was that a lot of people say that this is the dupe for the Sailor Pro Gear Slim, which is a super popular pen model, and I wanted to get a more affordable option to see whether or not I liked the style and the look of the pen, and I think the answer is no. I don't know if it's obvious, but for all my other pens, most of my other pens, they're all kind of like round capped and ended, and this one is like a flat top. And I feel like I'm not as much a fan of that shape. I know obviously it doesn't affect the writing experience, but it's just, if I had a choice, I wouldn't go for this one. Which is to say, I probably will not be adding a Sailor Pro Gear Slim or a Sailor Pro Gear anything to my collection for a while, which is not a bad thing because those pens are pricey, so I'm happy with just having this one in my collection. I'm going to put you right over here, number 11, and the next pen in number 10th place would be the Pilot Custom 74. Now this is the pen that I got quite recently in Korea, and it's in the soft, fine, medium nib. It's a 14K gold nib, and I got it in this nib size because I thought it was quite unique. It's not available in some of the other options, namely Pilot Custom 823, we'll get to that. But I got this because I wanted to try out the soft nib from Pilot, and to be honest, I thought I would like this pen more, which is unfortunate because, I've heard so many good things about this pen. It's a really good entry-level gold nib pen, and I think part of the reason why it's not higher up on this list is because I think there is something off about the tines on my nib. I just feel like it doesn't write quite as smoothly as I would expect a Pilot pen to. When I do that test where, you kind of like draw like a circle of lines across in like all the different directions, it doesn't quite write in the upstrokes. The ink doesn't flow as smoothly. So I feel like I probably need to get it checked out, and if I do manage to get it fixed, it might get bumped higher up onto the list, but for now it's sitting at number 10. Alright, moving on to number 9, and this may be a surprise. It is the Platinum Century 3776 in Chai Latte. Now this was the first pen that I made a dedicated video about on my channel, and I was really excited when I first got it, and I still really like the look of this pen. The only reason why it's not higher up is because it's just too precious of a pen for me to really want to use it as much. I love the writing experience, I love the look of it. That fine nib is really fine. I think it's even finer than some of the other Japanese fine nibs that I have, for example in my Pilot Custom 823. And I do enjoy it. I can see a time and place for it. It's definitely not to say that I don't enjoy writing with it. The only thing I would say is that the cap is just slightly heavy, so if I post it, it's not always the most comfortable. It's definitely not a pen for long form writing. If I use it for planning, short notes, that's fine, but for journaling, my hand tends to get tired out quite quickly. I think this is a good place to say that just because these pens rank low on the list doesn't mean that I don't enjoy them. Like, I do still love each and every one of these pens. That's why I have them. It's just that compared to the others, and there's quite stiff competition, I would say, this doesn't compare as much. I think this is a good pen for me to keep at home, for me to look at, but in terms of like usability, it's not as high up there. Moving on to the 8th and 7th place, I'm going to put these two together because they are the same model. This is the LAMY Safari in cream, and I believe this is the charcoal. Now these pens are obviously very popular and for good reason. I have this one in the extra fine, which is a really good writer, I would say. There's just like a touch of feedback, which I might say is a hair more than I would prefer, just because I like the super smooth and like buttery gliding on paper kind of feel. So that's my only like tiny complaint about it. And this one is actually in the 1.1 stub nib. Now this was a pen that my dad gave to me, so he's also into fountain pens, and I believe he got this on a family trip to Germany like years ago. Back then I had no idea what fountain pens were. I didn't understand any of them. I didn't know the difference between a rollerball, a fountain pen, a ballpoint. So I didn't even know that he picked up this pen while we were there, even though I was on that same trip with him, obviously, because it was a family trip. But when I told him that, you know, I'd recently gotten into fountain pens, he very kindly handed this to me. So it's currently inked up with a blue black cartridge from LAMY, and I've been having quite a lot of fun writing, like practicing calligraphy with it. I won't say I'm very good, but it's just fun to use it for that purpose. Also because this cartridge ink does have a bit of a sheen to it, which makes it even more fun in a 1.1 stub, because then you can really see that sheen come through. Now, if I were to really like rank them, I would say that the cream is just like a little bit higher above the charcoal, just because this is the color that I picked out for myself. So I got this pen for myself. I got it on Shopee, and I was so happy to find out that this was still available, because I think this is a 2022 special edition. So I've been seeing it on every YouTube video about fountain pen collections, like literally almost every single one that I've watched has this in the collection, and I can see why, because it's just such a nice color. And I'm not someone who is very particular about matching the ink color to the pen body, but I am somewhat particular. So I feel like if you give me a hot pink pen, I won't be able to put any other ink except for hot pink in it. But if you give me a neutral pen, I can put any color I want in it. I can put purple, I can put orange, I can put green, I can put black. So that's sort of why I went for this color, and I've been really enjoying it. Now for number 6, it would be the Kaweco Sport Olivine. This is my latest purchase. It's the pen that I got over December during the year-end sale, and I was really considering whether or not I wanted to get this, because for some reason, and I know I must be like in the minority for this, I'm not that big of a fan of the Kaweco Sports look. It's such a common beginner pen because the price point is quite friendly and it's just, I guess, compact. So I'm not sure why. I feel like the aesthetic of this pen just never really caught my attention, and I was never really interested in getting a Kaweco Spot for myself until I came across this one. This green is, oh my gosh, I just can't. It's so beautiful. I think this is the aluminum version. So the body is slightly heavier than the usual plastic. And I've tried holding the different materials in my hand. I've held the plastic one that was super light, way too light for me. I've also held the brass one that was way too heavy. So it really is a Goldilocks situation here, because I feel like the weight of this pen is perfect. Like, it's so comfortable. It feels really nice, and I also got it in the extra fine because I felt like in my lineup I didn't quite have enough really fine nipped pens. My preference usually is to write with a finer nib pen, so I feel like this one fills that gap quite nicely, and I would say that this extra fine is really quite fine. Like, it's up there. It's probably comparable to my Platinum Century 3776, which is surprising for a German nib, but I'm here for it. Really enjoying this one. I had a phase when I was like, should I get the matching pink one so that I can have like a Glinda and Elphaba moment? But then I thought about it and I was like, no, I don't need a second Kaweco Spot, because I know even if I get that one, I'll always lean towards this one because the color just has my heart. So I will not be adding the pink aluminum Kaweco Spot to my collection. That said, this is a wonderful pen. Really enjoy writing with it, especially when it comes to planning, because it's so fine. I just feel like it's so satisfying to write down my to-dos with it. It's currently inked up with a permanent or water-resistant ink. It's the Platinum Boon Sepia. I got a tester vial for it from the shop, and I am really enjoying the combination so far. All right, now moving on to the top 5. These are the remaining contenders. Starting with number 5, my Esterbrook SD. This is in Novo Blue. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And I got this at the Singapore Pen Show last November. It was a pen that I had been thinking about, and then I kind of like took it off my wish list for a while. But then I thought about the journalist nib, and then I was like, no, I really want to try it. So I did manage to find one with the journalist nib by Gina Salarino. The fun thing about Esterbrook's is that their SD line has all these different nib grinds that you would typically only be able to get if you went to a pen show or if you sent it to the specific nibmeister to get it ground down to, you know, whatever nib grind you would want. So I feel like what Esterbrook has done is quite an easy entry-level way for people to get into specialty nibs, which is why I was interested in getting this one. I feel like after writing with it for a couple of months, I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely leaning broader than I usually go for. I would say this is comparable to maybe like a Western M nib, but the journalist nib is kind of like ground in a specific way where the downstrokes, I believe, are wider and then the cross strokes would be thinner. So there is just a little bit of variation when you write with it. Now, I'll be honest, I don't think the difference is that prominent when I'm writing, at least with my handwriting. If you're looking for super pronounced line variation, I think you can go for something more than the journalist nib. I'm not sure what that would be because I'm still very much a beginner in this world and I don't really know what all the nib grind terms mean, but I would say probably not the journalist. That said, I feel like this is a really fun pen to obviously journal with, just because it's so broad, which means that it's easier for my hand to kind of like fly across a page and keep up with my thoughts as I'm writing, which is why I feel like this is probably my favorite pen to journal with, like for that specific purpose. And this is also visually, I think, the pen that stands out the most in my collection. As you can tell, I mean, other than my green Kaweco, my collection is pretty neutral. I don't really go for super bold colors. Again, going back to my reasoning for not wanting to pair like an orange pen with a purple ink, because I think that would just trip my brain up too much. But this one, I quite surprised myself because I had an option between this and the honeycomb when I was there at the pen show. And for some reason, the honeycomb just looked so weird to me in real life. Like on paper, or like when I was looking at the images online, I thought the clear choice for me would be either the honeycomb or the botanical gardens. I think that's what it's called, because they're usually the more warm colors, and I really love brown ink, so I felt like, you know, that's probably what I would end up getting. But when I saw them in person, something about them just felt off. Whereas this one, and then I think there was another blue pen called Blue Moon, if I'm not wrong, those two really stood out to me and they were beautiful. Now, I eventually went for this one because there's a hint of pink in the cracked ice, I think that's what they call it, the cracked ice finish. And I feel like that gave me a little bit more room to play around with. You know, if I wanted to put in a pink ink or a brown ink, I feel like it would still pair well. The other one was slightly more grey and cooler toned, so I still went with this one in the end. And yeah, so far, no regrets adding this to my collection because I feel like it's nice to have something that's different. And now I have a pen that I can put blue ink in. I do enjoy writing with blue ink. I just haven't quite found the perfect one yet. I think I'm in the market for a bright, water-resistant blue. If anyone has any recommendations or favorites, please let me know because I would be very interested in trying it out. All right, moving in closer to the top, number 4 would be my TWSBI Eco. This is the first fountain pen that I got, so I feel like it would always have a special place in my heart. And I feel like this is still such a beautiful writer. I just love how smooth and plush and cushiony this nib feels on the paper. I got this in an M nib, so when I got this in the shop, I had the chance to try out this one along with the F and the EF, the fine and extra fine nibs, and I felt like the writing experience for this one was so different because the jump from fine to medium was so distinct. The fine was feedbacky. I mean, obviously it still wrote well. It's just that you could feel that tooth on the paper, whereas for the medium nib, it just glides like butter. And I remember telling the shop staff that it's my first fountain pen, so I was asking for recommendations and she let me try the Platinum Meteor, and I also tried, I think, the Pilot Kakuno and a couple of other platinum pens. But the moment I picked this up, I was like, I can't leave the shop without it. Because I know even if I got any of the other pens that were a fraction of the cost of this one, I would still be thinking about this one and I would probably still return to get it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get it. And no regrets. I think the only thing I would say is if I were to make this purchase again, I would go for the rose gold trimming. So this one is in the usual silver trim, just because, I mean, it was my first fountain pen purchase after all, and I wasn't ready to fully go all the way because I think there was quite a bit of an upcharge to the rose gold trimming. So I was still trying to be at least somewhat sensible about my purchase, which is why I went for the lower priced option. Now that I'm here, obviously hindsight is 2020. Now that I'm here, I feel like I should have just gone for the rose gold and then I wouldn't have to think about it. Because now I am quite tempted to get the rose gold one, but we shall see. We shall see. Now, top 3. It may be fairly obvious what the result's going to be, but I'm going to go to my number 1 first, which is the Pilot Custom 823. It's true, guys. Whatever they say on the internet about this pen, it's true. This pen was such a journey. I feel like when I first found out about it, I was really curious because my thoughts were, is it really that great? How great can a fountain pen get? because everyone was saying that this is the best performance that you can get at this price range. Now, this is by no means a cheap pen. This is in fact my most expensive pen. But they're saying that once you cross this threshold, the writing experience doesn't get much better from there. So the extra cost would come into things like, let's say, the finish of the pen, the size of the nib, or I suppose just like the things that make the pen unique aesthetically, but it doesn't really affect the writing performance. So my journey with this pen, when I first went into the shops to try it out, I felt like the fine was just too nail-like. Like it was so thin and so stiff, and it didn't feel enjoyable at all. And this is also definitely a pen that has a bit of weight to it. So combining the weight with the stiffness and nail-likeness of the nib, I just wasn't sure if I was ready to drop like $300-400 on a single pen. And so I put it out of my mind. I put the custom 74 on my wish list instead. But then after a while, I continued seeing people online saying what a wonderful pen this was. And I went back into the shops. And for some reason, it wasn't as nail-like as I thought it was. So something happened, I'm not sure. I wrote with it and I couldn't get that feeling of the nib on the paper out of my mind. And so I got it. Another reason I did eventually make the purchase was that Pilot did raise their prices across the board around the end of last year. And thankfully, my local retailer was holding on to the older prices. He said that he would continue selling it at the older price at least until all of the current stock depletes. So he would only raise it if he had to put in a new order to Japan and get it over, which makes sense because obviously he's got to cover costs. But I also thought it was really nice of him to hold the price and not increase it along with Japan, because he could have done that. That also meant that I was facing a little bit of time pressure to get it. And in my head, I was thinking, if I got this and I really didn't like it, I would still be able to sell it off because it's so popular. I just know someone will want to buy it. This is the amber color, by the way, which also is the most common color that I've seen it in, but it's just so beautiful. It's brown. What can I say, guys? This is a wonderful pen. I enjoy writing with it so much. It's one of the pens that I really am comfortable doing all things with it. So whether that's journaling, planning, short notes, and anything else in between, I feel like this pen can do it all. The only thing I would say is that I've been slightly wary about bringing this out because one thing the shop staff did tell me was, do not drop this. I mean, obviously you wouldn't go around dropping any of your pens, but I think because of the weight of this pen and the resin, if you do happen to drop it, I think there's a high chance it would crack. He said that he's cracked one of these pens before, so it does happen, and I've seen it online as well. So for a time, I didn't dare to bring this out until I got a special pen holder to protect it. So I wasn't bringing this pen out until very recently when I got my pen case. So I think that's the only drawback on practicality, but otherwise this pen, really zero notes. Love it. Now that leaves us with second and third place. Not really a fight here because they are the same model. This is the Platinum Preppy. This is in the Makie collection, which has these designs to replicate, I think, the actual Makie art. This is a sub $20 pen, so obviously it's not the actual thing. All of this is just plastic, but it looks nice, it's pretty. And this one is the Per Pen-Up series. So it's a collaboration between Platinum and Kokuyo, I believe. They came up with a series of notebooks and this fountain pen. And both of them are just such great writers. Both of these are kind of the slightly bougier versions of the regular standard Platinum Preppy. I think that's also quite a popular beginner pen. Now, the aesthetics of that one never really caught my heart. I just felt like it was a little bit too loud, a little bit too plasticky looking. So I never got that. But when I saw that this existed and that it was available in my local shop, I was really excited to get it. And this one, I actually got this as an impulse purchase because I was in the shop only for this one. And then the shop staff pulled this one out. He was like, "Oh, have you seen these?" And I was like, "No." So I picked out one of these fireworks ones. I thought it was really nice. They had different designs. I think there was a cat one, there was a goldfish one, but this one looked the nicest to me, so I got it. And both of these are such great performing pens. The only thing I would say is that this pen, for whatever reason, whatever ink that I put in it doesn't bleed through. And I don't know if it's because it's this nib specifically, or if it's some sort of combination with the ink that I'm using, but for a time when I was using the cheaper notebooks that I got from Shopee before I realized what a big difference paper plays in the fountain pen writing experience, this was the only pen that I could use with that paper because the ink just would not bleed through. So obviously it's fantastic, and I feel like for that single reason I would never sell this pen because something about this nib just works wonders. And even though this is the exact same nib, exact same pen supposedly, the ink that I put in this one does bleed through. So somebody explain that to me, guys. But otherwise, love this pen. It's beautiful. And this is another one of those pens where it's so reliable. I just know if I pick it up, it's going to work for whatever I want it to do. And it's also so simple, but so pretty. Like, it's just plain white. Again, I can put any ink color in this one and it's going to work out. If I were to rank them, I would say like this, the Perpanet one probably comes in just a little bit above this one, just because the aesthetics of this one I feel has my heart a little bit more. So this is it, guys, the ranking of all the fountain pens that I own. Oh, it actually turned out quite well because my smallest pen is in the middle. So there you have it. These are all of the fountain pens that I own, ranked in order of how much I like them. Again, I do love all of these pens because they are mine, and I don't foresee getting rid of any of these pens anytime soon. I would also say that this is not a small collection for someone who's only been in the hobby for 6 months, at least in my opinion. I really tried to be intentional about the purchases that I made, and also every pen that I put on the wish list, I made sure to really think through it and try the pen out in person first before I commit to it, if I can. And I feel like in 2026, I really want to slow down on my fountain pen purchases because I bought this number of pens in 6 months. And I don't think it's going to be sustainable if I keep doing that every 6 months. So I want to slow down with the rate at which I'm adding pens to my collection. I also feel like I quite like the place that my collection is in at the moment. And I really want to take my time to get to know these pens even more, try them with different inks, bring them around, do different things with them. So I think I'm going to be okay for a while. I am going to focus on enjoying the pens that I have rather than always looking out for new pens to add. That's it. I do have one pen that currently sits on my wish list. That is the Leonardo Golden Abalone pen. I think that resin is just beautiful. I don't know what Jonathan Brooks does, but whatever he's doing with those pens, it's magical. And the thing about this pen is it's really 100% for the aesthetics if I do get it, because I've never held a Leonardo in my hand before. I've never written with it. I have no idea what the writing experience is like. And it is also fairly pricey for a steel nib. So I don't know if it's actually going to be worth it. And there's also that small risk where I get a pen body that doesn't have swirls that I like, because it's a little bit of a blind box in that situation where you don't really know what the pen body that you're going to get will look like. So slight risk there. And it's shipping all the way from Italy, so I feel like if anything does happen, if anything does go wrong with it and I have to send it back, it's going to be so much additional cost incurred. I don't know if it's going to be worth it. So I'm sitting on that purchase for a little bit longer. I'm going to think about it and carefully consider it. I feel like even if I don't end up getting it, I'll be quite okay with the current pens that I have. So not a super big deal, but obviously if I get the chance to, that would be amazing. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed that ranking of my fun pens. Let me know what are your top 3 pens in the comments down below. Thanks so much everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!